Okay, joining us now, Chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia. I've got a spring in my step. Perhaps he does also. He called the shutdown the Tim Kaine shutdown, and he's joining us now. RVP Chairman John Whitbeck. John, good to have you, man.
How you doing?
Okay, we got you now. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How you doing?
Good, man. I'm fired up today because, look, the Democrats completely caved Monday. They have nowhere to go with this immigration debate. The economy is booming on the one-year Trump anniversary, and I don't think they have a message, and I'm fired up. How about you?
Yeah, on paper, if you look at Tim Kaine, you'd think, boy, this is an unbeatable, incumbent. He's, we're 0-10 in statewide races in the Republican Party in the last several years. We've got everything's fallen apart. November 2017 was a disaster. And then along comes government shutdown. And I got to admit, I was thinking, oh, no, here we go again. It's 2013 all over again. They're going to blame us. It's going to be a disaster. The president's approval ratings are going to tank. Everything's going to go wrong. And then we united. The party actually united around a common goal, and that was to resist putting illegal immigration as a priority over federal workers and our budget and the Virginia economy. And lo and behold, Tim Kaine decides that it's more important for him to fight for the rights of illegal immigrants than it is to Virginia's economy at the cost of hundreds of millions of dollars. And boy, what a huge blunder on his part. And it gives the opening for whoever our nominee is to actually win this thing in November.
Well, the other thing is, they prioritized people that came to the country illegally, whether it was by choice or not. Their parents brought them here illegally. These are illegal people that broke the law. They prioritized 700,000 of them over 9 million U.S. American children who are dependent on the CHIP program for care. I mean, I don't know how that math works, John. I really don't. I don't know what they were thinking. And they want to debate on this whole thing. They want to debate on merit-based immigration, illegal immigration, wall, DACA. I'm all for it. I think the debate plays in our favor because I think we have the facts.
Well, John, you hit the nail on the head just a minute ago. I'll tell you exactly what they were thinking. Their only thing they can do right now, because they have no agenda, they have no message, they have no ideology even, is call our president, our Congress, and every Republican in office and every Republican in leadership a racist. That is their entire message against us right now. And, hey, look, it worked. It worked in Alabama. It worked in Virginia. And they were able to put some of the most god-awful race-baiting messages out there against our people in Virginia, our House of Delegates members and Ed Gillespie, and it worked. And it's sort of like the abortion thing. They've been using that for decades, and they're going to keep doing it till it stops working. And hopefully this will be a sign to them that they've got to come up with something more than just Republicans are racist and Trump's a racist. And I think that's something that we as Republicans have to push back really, really hard on. And I think the way we do it is continue to have policy victories like the tax bill and the one we just had yesterday.
Well, listen, you're right. And they looked at Virginia. Really, the biggest election that mattered was Virginia because Alabama, you got to throw it out because of the whole Roy Moore thing, and he was creepy, right. And whether you liked it or not, or was illegal or not, the guy was dating 16-year-olds and calling up guidance counselors at high school.
Yep.
I mean, creepazoid. Okay, so you got to throw that out. And New Jersey, I'm from New Jersey. They vote for a Republican governor about every 5 decades. All right, so you throw that out. Plus, you had Christie and the Bridgegate. I mean, the real barometer they looked at was Virginia, and that was an unmitigated catastrophe for Republicans, no question. And they looked at it, and they said they had a relatively weak candidate for the Democrats that really didn't stand for anything, and their entire message was Trump sucks. Send that message. And it worked. And so they said, there's our strategy nationally. I heard that Nancy Pelosi went and sat in Don McEachin's office and said, Don, tell me how we take Virginia national. Tell me how we take these results national. And what I heard third party that Congressman Don McEachin told someone else, he said, imagine the minority leader coming to my office. I'm like number 435 in seniority of 435 people. She came to my office and sat for an hour and wanted to know how we take the Virginia strategy national. And that's their playbook. That's their playbook. And Don told a couple people that who told me that, and I appreciate his honesty. But, the question is now, is that something they can extrapolate and do it on the national basis? Because you're right, John. There's no economic message. There's no foreign policy message. There's nothing. I mean, you go back to 2006, and they had a clear message. Drain the swamp, right? That was back then with Republicans, and get out of these wars. That was their message when they took over. And, a lot of people said, we need to get out of these wars, and they went with them. I don't know what they have now.
No, they don't. And I think that they always do a better job of messaging than we do because they control the media. So they're able to get, 3 or 4 times what we can do in terms of talking points out in a given day are going to come out for the Democrats than from us. And we're just not the home team when it comes to the media. And, we got to keep talking about the economics of these shutdowns. I mean, $100 million a day was lost. $100 million was lost from the one day of the shutdown. And then we know that from the last government shutdown, Standard & Poor's tells us that it was $200 million a day. Now think about this. Hampton Roads has about 50,000 federal workers, not counting contractors. And contractors meaning people who have they work for a private company, but they service the government, the federal government. Imagine the impact on all those people. And your argument is, well, sorry about that whole $100 million thing. Sorry about your job and your furlough. But by the way, Trump's a racist. I just don't see Scott Taylor in the 2nd District, when he's talking about these type of things, losing to someone whose only message is Trump's a racist, Scott Taylor's a racist. 10th District, where I live, Barbara Comstock, really targeted district, probably the most targeted district in the country. I don't see how when she's talking about what she's done on the sexual harassment stuff, what she's done on behalf of federal workers just in the last 3 days alone, and they say, oh, by the way, Barbara Comstock's a racist. I just don't see that message working. And the Democrats saw that, and there's a great article in the Washington Post saying this very thing. They kept their eye on the prize, and that's November of 2018. And, boy, they are really lucky this didn't go much longer because, nobody's going to be thinking about this in a couple of weeks. But once February 8th hits, we're going to have another one of these showdowns, and Republicans are going to have a lot more to go with when this next thing comes around.
Well, let's look at the next thing, February the 8th, right? Now, where do the Democrats go now? I mean, if they do the same thing, they're going to get the same result, right? You go down the same path, you end up in the same place. So they're going to get the same result. So they have no negotiating leverage whatsoever come the February 8th because the Republicans are going to do the same thing, right? There's going to be debate. There's no way anything passes by February the 8th. It's not going to happen. I mean, this debate is going to rage into November before anything gets done. So now what do the Democrats do? I mean, they can shut it down a second time and say, well, we had the debate, but we didn't get the result we want. We want amnesty, and we're going to be in the same place. And if they try to do the same thing, how does that work for them?
Well, I think what they'll do is what you're already seeing, and that is, hey, Mitch McConnell promised us a vote on DACA. Mitch McConnell gave us his word. We did this all on Mitch McConnell's word, which is a bunch of garbage. They did this because they knew it was a huge blunder on their part. But again, Tim Kaine he said just a little while ago that he would draw the line on a shutdown. Then he voted for the shutdown. Then yesterday he flip-flopped in less than 24 hours and then voted to reopen the government. And, you're going to see that same thing. They're going to strategize about what's best for them in November of 2018, and that's how they'll drive it. They have absolutely no ideology, no agenda, nothing. It's all about pure raw politics, and it shows in what they did yesterday.
Well, I don't know where they go from here, but I feel better about 2018 November today than I felt in a very long time because I can now see a pathway to victory, right? I can see it. Right.
You can see it, and you can see it in Virginia with what should be an unbeatable incumbent. And that's continuing to talk about these economic issues. We are at our best when we have an actual agenda, when we get stuff done. And this is a lesson for our House of Delegates folks in 2019. Run on an agenda, talk about the issues that matter. Don't focus on the issues that divide Virginians. Focus on, jobs, the economy, all the things that we do well, and we're going to get things done. And that's what's happening at the federal level, and it can happen at the state level too.
Absolutely. I think you're spot on with that. Now, let's get to the Republican primary for U.S. Senate. 3 candidates in the race. The favorite, Prince William County Chairman Corey Stewart, the Bishop 2013 Lieutenant Governor nominee E.W. Jackson, and House of Delegates member Nick Freitas. Stewart's the favorite in this. You know, John, we've only got a minute and a half, but there's a lot of people telling me, look, you know what? I don't agree with Corey Stewart on everything. I don't like his style. He kind of aggravates me. But give him a shot, right? He's willing to take Kane on head on. You know, he's tried to be the nominee 3 times. Give him a shot and see what the hell happens. I've had a lot of people tell me that. I think that attitude makes Corey is going to be a very difficult candidate to beat in the June primary. That's my take.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I mean, he's a very, very difficult candidate to beat if you're in this primary. You know, I'll give you a good example. Nick Freitas and Corey Stewart were up in Loudoun County on Saturday night with me. We were at a group called the Conservative Ladies of Loudoun. There was 400 people at this event. It was their 1-year anniversary, and they're a grassroots movement that sort of sprung up a year ago. And both of them spoke, and they both did a really great job. They talked about, you know, issues that matter, economics, things like that, and things that we should really be focusing on. And I went around and sort of did an unofficial poll in the room. And again, this is no disrespect to E.W. Jackson at all. He's a great guy, known him a long time. He just happened to be there that night. But I went around to the women in the room, which suburban women are where, you know, really what it comes down to. And I say, you know, what do you think between the two? And I of course, didn't express a preference. And it was split. It was very split. I think it's a very competitive primary. And I'll tell you what, you know, they both were really impressive in how they presented themselves. And, you know, they got their wives are really wonderful women, too. Their wives are their best asset. And I think this is going to be a really, really interesting primary, and I'm excited to watch it unfold.
All right, John, we'll see how it plays out. John Whitbeck, Chairman, Republican Party of Virginia. Thanks for being with us, John.